people kind of tell their story, but all I have to do is wind you up and let you go, okay? So I'm just going to say, tell us your story.
Well, Pastor Paul, I think back as a young child, I started church here. My parents were really emphatic about making sure we get to church every Sunday. As a matter of fact, up until I was 16, I was told, up for church. And at 16, I could decide if I wanted to go to church or I could stay home. Actually, I'd have to move out because my dad did not let us. He didn't want us to go to church. And I grew up, I went to CYC camp and I spent time, at the camp a couple summers, and I felt like I was a Christian. I tried to do things the right way. And as I got older, I thought to myself, I might be performing what Christians would do, but was I doing what Jesus would do in my environment? And as I got a little older, I kept weighing on me, and I met my wife Colette. God gave me her, and we had 3 lovely children together. But something was missing. And as I got older, I think I was around in my 40s, playing with God pretty much. Whatever I needed in my calling, but I really didn't follow. And I started driving semi, and I met a gentleman. His name was Pete, and he was a trainer. And him and I were driving in the Rocky Mountains, and I was driving, he was sleeping, and he had been talking to me about Jesus a lot. And I thought I was a Christian, but he really, picture yourself. Are you really doing what Jesus wants you to do? I'm thinking about stuff. Oh, here we go. So I'm driving in the middle of the night. It's a mile up in the mountains. The stars are out. It's wintertime, so it's really crystal clear. And God starts talking to me and says, Norm, you've played this Christian yes and no thing all your life. Who do you think made those stars? And these vast, it's beautiful to see it. I'm like, you know what, Jesus, you're right. I'm tired of not living for you. I'd rather live for you, and the things that he promised you are so amazing. And so I decided right then and there I was going to do whatever it took to live for Jesus. And I came home. I started coming back to church here. Colette, at first, she was a little bit hesitant about, here he goes, But my daughter, who wasn't a Christian at the time, she bought me a Bible for Father's Day. And I decided that right then and there I was going to read that Bible and study I wanted to see what God had for my life, what he planned. So I started reading it, and I got really proud of myself because I read it through one time. Then I met Colette's grandmother, and she said, here's my Bible, it's old and tattered. She said, I've been read it 14 times. Well, I'll fix her. So I read mine 7 times through. Lost it in the flood. That's okay. But my daughter, at the time, she bought it, and I was coming to church. She said, Dad, there's something funny about you. Not funny, but... So she started going to church. She became a Christian. She came to me one day and she said, Dad, I cannot believe why everyone doesn't live for Jesus. I'm like, you're right, honey. Isn't that funny that, he opens your eyes up. So, that's kind of, again, then Colette wasn't coming to church with me. One day, Christine said, Mom, I'm going to go to church to see Dad do something, and you're coming with us. She came. Next thing I know, she's been here every Sunday. But God has given her, it's been fun serving him with her. We have a lot of fun. We really do. It's just a blast living for Jesus and doing what he asks you to do. And he never disappoints you. We went through a flood, and he's just blessed us. And the other day, I heard I was driving somewhere, and God says, prepare yourself for what's about to happen magnificent in your life. And I'm waiting. So that's my story.
Wow. Okay. Well, didn't have to ask him any questions, did I? I've used Norm as an example many times about spiritual leadership. Because the truth is that when men serve Jesus, their families follow. And you almost never see a man who has a family worship alone. See that a lot of times with ladies, but you almost never see it with a man. And Norm, he's gone off here and there on a few different tangents. And so when he really got committed to Jesus, Colette didn't come along right away. She decided that she was going to wait and see if this was real. Now Colette is as shy as Norm is gregarious. So instead of being on the platform, she asked me to read her part of the story. So this is what Colette said. Dear Pastor Paul, I started coming here to Gallium Free Methodist for my husband, Norm. We've been attending here for some time. I was not brought up in a church environment, so I wasn't expecting it to be anything more than just listening to sermons and singing some old hymns. But when I came, I realized it was much more than that. Just getting up and coming to church every Sunday is amazing. I have become a believer in Jesus, and I'm growing in my faith. And I see the Lord at work every day in my life. I'm just a very quiet person. He doesn't like to say a lot, like my outspoken husband. He will shout it from the rooftops that he loves Jesus. I will shout it out a little bit quieter to myself, singing his praises. God bless you, Colette. Isn't it great to know God deals with every one of us differently, doesn't he? And I just asked Colette, when you're alone together, who does most of the talking? She said she does. Pretty amazing. But God uses every one of us in incredible and wonderful ways. So would you pause with me for a moment?